And I was also explaining, so what does it matter if these things are real or not? Like on a bigger cosmic scale. Like if unicorns and dragons and fairies and all these different things are totally, completely made up, if we are having very good intentions behind these things and they're relaying different messages to us and helping us in our life, either growing or healing or consciousness expansion, they're all us. All of these things are different perspectives. They are ways for us to see ourselves in different lenses and ways for us to mirror off lessons and growth moments and challenges, and so that we can figure ourselves out for our own ascension journeys. And when I was explaining that, it really took a lot of pressure off of this stuff doesn't matter. It's not tangible. How is this going to serve me or other people in this timeline, in this incarnation? Because that helped me on my journey. I was like, I don't really care if it is real or not. And I will say that getting deeper into it, that stuff is very real. Okay. But in the beginning stages, I was like, I don't care. Like this is fun. This is magical. This is whimsical. This is the fantasy that I wanted in my life. And the more that I got into it, the more real that it became. And I started to just live in this completely different reality scape from the majority of people that were in my life. And now that's what I do full time. And I'm seeing so much tangible evidence of magic being very real, and that it is coming back to the forefront of consciousness and this reality. Okay, so I was explaining to her that part of her soul mission is to bring this magic to everyone and help them remember and activate them, or activate it within themselves. But sometimes we're discounting the importance of that, and we're saying we just need to focus on human aspects, which we need to do that as well, but where's the fun? Her higher soul's like, where's fun? Where's the magic? Where's the fantasy? I mean, we can have both things congruently running at one time and make it such more of an enjoyable process and a real process, something that can be very tangible for everyone here. And so in order to help other people with these things, we have to accept that within ourselves. We have to say, this is actually what I truly want. And I know that I am a leader who is going to be at the forefront of helping people remember, activate, and remember these things within themselves. And I need to invest some more time in those realms. And it's very easy. I said, you don't even have to overthink it. The way that I got to the place I'm at right now is I have done so much research about humans. I went to school for psychology, and I was going to go get a clinical doctorate degree. And I said, I don't want to work in the office, even though we love psychologists, okay? But I'm not an office galley. And I ended up working in the mental health fields and nonprofits and helping in these different sectors and doing tens of thousands of hours of research on the human psyche and neural networking and all these things. And I'm not saying that you need to do that. That's my path. But I did that because I understand the importance of taking care of your human or other humans while we are here during this incarnation. But I always knew that there was more that we could achieve and have access to and within self, or we have these internal projections where we can connect to different incarnations and different planetary systems and traverse through the ethers, whether that's in shamanism or lots of different things. Okay. I said I know that stuff is available, and if I want to create that reality not only for myself but for other people, I need to invest more in magic. I need to invest more in my imagination. And so the way that I started doing that was getting my hands on as much fantasy things as I could, as far as books and TV shows and movies and in any type of cinema or art that I could. And I was imbuing as much as I could into my energy field, because even if those things aren't necessarily accurate of all of the let's, for the context, tangible forms of things like unicorns, dragons, and fairies and things like that, because it's very watered and diluted down in movies and TV shows and cinema. But a lot of that stuff is accurate. There's a truth in all of these things because they are coming from the bigger Akasha fields. And we as a collective are priming ourselves, getting ourselves ready to actually experience them in real time. So kind of like reverse programming, like a good programming, if you will. And when I was delving into these imaginative scapes, I had a lot of inner children that had been told that these things were evil, or that I need to get my head out of the clouds, or I needed to be more logical and analytical minded. I also had religious programming, societal programming, and witch wounds and fear of persecution from like different incarnations and things like that. So I made sure that when I was watching these things that I was not consuming things that were triggering to my inner children, because that was not going to be beneficial. I was watching things where magic was fun and happy and joyous and peaceful, and gradually I started adding things in that were a little bit more triggering to those wounds, because now I had tools and resources and had those connections with my inner children where I could go in and say, hey, just because we're watching this does not mean that all of this stuff is accurate. We need to listen to our intuition and discernment and glean what it is that we are in resonance with. And if there is something that comes up, like witches burning or something like that, then let's talk about it. Or let's try to dig a little bit deeper and see where that origin might be coming from, or that root. Maybe that happened to us. Maybe it happened to other people in these different incarnations. And that's one of the ways that I have done a lot of Akashic, karmic, vow, soul contract, clear out work. And now I can watch things that I don't want to say necessarily, let's say conflict, okay, that have more conflict in them, or persecution things, because I have done so much work in those areas, and I use it kind of as a mirror of what parts of this do I want in my reality and the reality for others, and what do I not. And I'm going to utilize these lessons as a way to work out why we need to be very mindful about our magic, because it is really powerful and it is very influential. When you have very magical auric fields, and you understand these esoteric topics and understandings, and we need to be mindful of the way that we're interacting with people. And the things I'm saying, right? We need to utilize these things in cinema that are non-preferable, and figure out, how do we make pivots so we don't have to experience these things. So again, all of these fantasy things are prepping and priming us to have a reality like this if we all collectively decide together that's what we want to experience. But at the same time, it's prepping and priming us of like, hey, be mindful of the things that are in these that are conflictual that we don't want. Like how do we stay away from those different paradigms, like of fear or oppression or persecution. But delving into fantasy and magic and imagination is the way to live in a reality that has those things in it, even if that is solely internally at first, and then it starts radiating out and you start attracting all of these beautiful soul tribe members who are also into woo-woo stuff and magic and fantasy. And then your universal algorithm really does start changing around you, where you are experiencing the tangibility of magic. And that is a whole different type of reality scape that you can live in, and it is amazing. I will tell you, as someone who got herself onto the other side. So all in all, the whole point of this was, if you want to see more magic in your life, you have to see it as important and invest more time and energy into it, and set that intention of how can I make this more tangible for myself or tangible for others. And I'm going to believe in me and I'm going to believe in the reality that I want to experience and that I want others to experience as well, because I am a powerfully conscious creator and I can make it happen. If you're having a difficult time connecting into the ethers and spirit guides and higher self and your intuition and all of these things that are a little bit intangible and that take a lot of faith and trust within yourself. I'm going to share an Akashic record session that I just with a client because it might help you on your journey as well. Okay, and this is coming from someone who is also very logical and analytical minded. And so when I was at the beginning stages of my journey, I was also having a difficult time connecting because of those things. Okay, and also trusting myself. Like if we are already having a difficult time trusting self, it's even a little bit more difficult to trust these things that are unseen, our extra sensory perception abilities, things that are coming from the cosmos or the Akashic field or your chakras and all these things that you cannot necessarily see with your physical eyes. You're seeing them with your spiritual eyes. Okay, so when I was talking to this client about her soul mission, which absolutely beautiful, she wants to help women who are going through transitional phases in their life and help them wake up to their magic and their multidimensionality within their true core essence. And I said, that is a wondrous thing that you want to do. However, there is something deep down within your soul that is calling for you to do something even more expansive. But it's scaring these parts of yourself that have been through, kind of human PTSD and trauma, who have been through societal programming, religious programming, all these filter lenses and distortions. So I said, it's already so amazing that you want to launch into helping women more in these 3D tangible terms of seeing their value and the gifts and the abilities that they have to offer out into the world and helping them with their self-concept and their confidence. Amazing. But again, there's something that's deeper. And when I told her, I said, when I was talking to your higher self, she said, we actually want to be doing the things that Sage is doing. Okay, that's me. If you haven't met me before, I'm Sage. And what I do is very etheric work. I am speaking to different incarnations, helping people connect to their unicorn, fairy, dragon guides, helping them do astral projection, reawaken these facets of self that have been forgotten, that you are a creator and you get to decide what type of reality experience you're going to have, and you utilize your alchemization and transmutation skills in order to do that. And she was like, yeah, I do want to be doing that type of work. And I was like, I know, it's really fun. But again, a lot of those things are intangible. It's not something that you can necessarily prove. It is something that is a soul resonance, an internal knowing that you have, that those things are your truths, because it's memories of these different places and spaces that you have traversed through the ethers. Okay, it's you reaching this certain level of consciousness where you don't necessarily need so much tangibility in life. You also understand that like time's not linear and we have access to a lot more than we have been led to believe. Okay, so when I was saying that, her higher self said that one of her biggest trepidations about this, the potentiality of these things not being quote unquote real, which totally understand from someone who is also logical and analytical, and you're not seeing these things with your eyes. Some people can, but if we're not there yet, it's like, what's the point in helping people connect to unicorns and dragons and fairies and all these different things? Like, it would serve me better to help people with more like earthly based things, with their human self-concept, empowerment, confidence, which both of those things are equally as amazing and equally as needed. And I said, part of your soul mission is to help bring magic back onto the earth. And it's actually already been here. Okay, it's us changing our perception abilities and us re-remembering, okay, and being able to perceive in different frequencies and dimensions and things of that nature. And I said, I want you to think about Harry Potter. And I know the author of Harry Potter has some not so great things going on, but just for the context, okay? So she's pulling that information from somewhere, channeling from the Akasha, where these wizardy things are in fact actually part of cosmic history, okay? And channeling that here, and then she created a whole entire world, like a whole entire realm within the consciousness collective. And what that is doing, it is prepping everyone's mind to open their imagination scapes and to start saying, wow, this is so cool, like all of these magical things. Like, I wish that this could be me. I could be a wizard or a warlock or a sorceress, an enchantress, whatever terminology you like to use. And what that is doing is it is paving the way for one day for everybody to say, oh, wait a minute, this is me. I do have these gifts and abilities. And the realm that she and lots of other different creators, lots of movies and TV shows and books, it is coming from the Akashic field to get everyone prepped for us to have a reality like that together. So it is birthing a whole new reality consciousness, okay? And what I was explaining to her is everything is made up. Literally everything. You, me, the phone I'm talking to, like plants, trees, animals. If you have the understanding that everything came from source to begin with, and source's consciousness gave birth, then technically everything is just made up from source, right? So when we are talking about the tangibility of things, yes, some things feel a little bit more tangible because we have condensed them into matter, kind of like there weren't chairs at one time and somebody was like, oh, I think this would be a good idea, and then took that consciousness, channeled it down, and then made the chair, and then we all collectively started utilizing chairs together. That's how everything is made, right? So in that instance, I would say let's take unicorns. Okay, so unicorns are coming from somewhere, either from here on this planet, or it's being channeled from other places and spaces, because those have been seen throughout so much of history. There's so much congruence with that, so many synchronizations, right? It's hard to say like, oh, like it's really odd that this has like been throughout history for so long, right? And I said, if we have enough people on the planet who open up their consciousness and their imagination, and then we start delving deeper into the mythos of unicorns, eventually there might be unicorns back on this planet, or maybe for the first time, wherever they came from, but we could actually have them here, right? If there's enough of us that are pointing our consciousness at it. It's the same thing with deities and guides and ascended masters. Even if they didn't necessarily have a physical human vessel and it's more of an ethereal being, if there are so many people pointing their intention and energy at this being, and they are filling it full of like these different messages and type of healings and these different type of downloads and insights that you can glean from them, that being gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then all of a sudden you start having all these like psychics and channelers out here that can actually speak to them and see them outside of them as well, and they become more real and more tangible, and then eventually things can actually be condensed down into matter, just like a chair. Okay? So the more that we work on being able to perceive through the veil or the different dimensions and frequencies, the more tangible magic that we will have available to us on this planet, or creatures or ascended masters and deities and guides and things of that nature. Okay, so that's where we're kind of all headed in the collective consciousness experience.